Yes, we're going to talk about the future again. This is really cool because I saw a video. I love near-death experiences, although I don't believe too many of them. That's just a personal thing. I think there's a lot of people that just want to get attention and make it up. Oops, I'll have to block that out. So I want to talk about a prediction based on what somebody saw while he was in a near-death experience, but also parallel realities. This all fits in. This is absolutely what I believe. I think science backs this up. I think all the really intelligent, super duper brains out there believe this, even though sometimes they restrict themselves, because the truth is there are no limitations. But let's talk about our particular matrix, our play, our mansion. My father has many mansions. We're in one. We're playing it out. We're a collective. You and I are family here. And we're playing out endless reality results, because it never ends. It's endless. I'm going to share this with you because I loved it and I think you're going to love it. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. Holy cow! This is a matrix. It's a play. It's illusion. It has to be. It has to be. I'll prove it to you. Your body disintegrates, dissolves at some point, right? Yeah? So this can't be you. If it was you, it'd be you all the time. So what is it, and who are you, and what are you when this dissolves? Energy. That's science. That's science. That's not religion. That's not anything. It's science. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So if we are moving, functioning bodies, we are an energy field. Everything is. It's not static. Nothing just sits there. Everything's constantly changing, transforming. It's constantly, everything constantly moving, changing, and it's intelligent. Everything's intelligent because the one source is all things. It is intelligence. There's no separation between things. Dimensions have no separation. Before we begin, I have to ask you to please subscribe. Yeah, that's how I keep in business. What's business? My business is to show you that you can think for yourself and create anything you want. And it doesn't matter who goes in office. It doesn't matter about the Bilderberg group and what they decide. It's your decision because you completely control what goes on in here and here. And nobody controls that. They made me, she made me, he made me. No, they didn't. You chose it. They may have done something that triggered certain things in you, but you're completely in control. You and I are completely in control. That's why I talk about all these things, words, and who's doing what, and watch them. Are you putting your faith and your votes into people who are using destructive words? That counts. It's creating a reality. So let's talk about reality. Let's talk about this particular NDE, near-death experience I heard about. I love it because it's everything that I talk about, because all dimensions exist at one time. Past, present, and future all exist. We can shift in and out of them. But we're not doing that because we're playing this one out. Now, at every moment, and this is why I talked about Nostradamus. I did a video with Dolores Cannon's predictions that Nostradamus made, and he said, and all of them that have predicted the future, Edgar Cayce and that, will tell you, it is not in stone. We're telling you things now as warnings, not as gloom and doom. So we hear these near-death experiences, and a lot of people say, I see war and I see all these things. So of course you do. You're seeing one reality, just one of endless realities, just one. So here is a factor that we discount, the frequency that person's on. If you are creating, and I believe this is the truth for me, so let's open our minds and say, this is a possibility, right? If you are creating your own reality, even with the collective and the craziness going on, you still create your own reality and what you're thinking about the world and what comes into your own life. And this affects that. So that's changing when you change this. So you're totally in control. You are not just walking around as this reality or entity. These decisions affect that. All right? So that's how we change our reality constantly, is our own decisions, our own choices, our own thoughts and actions. All right, so if mine are basement, you guys know I talk about my father has many mansions. I'm not a religious person, trust me. That means mansion. We're in mansions. We're in this scenario is going on and this one and this one. Ours is planet Earth. We're playing it out. And so we have frequencies we can choose. Every choice puts you on a different floor. In the basement, people argue about politics. They argue about what's right and wrong. They correct each other. Why are you correcting somebody? Because you think you're right. Really? Hey, call me. I'll have people lined up around the block if you've got the answers. If what you think is right, let's alert the news. Alert the media. No. Oops, they're controlled too. So what are we going to do about this? We're going to look at our frequency and say, if I have a prediction, if I have something going on, let's say I go into a near-death experience, I completely influence what I'm seeing. So a near-death experience, someone might go on the other side and see something gloom and doom because they're starting from that energy field. Now, I'm not saying that you can't see some cataclysms, if you're on a high frequency as warnings or whatever. But I've noticed that people that go into those negative predictions have a tendency to be quite low frequency people, and their viewpoint on life seems to be in there. And they start to talk, and the more you hear them, the more you realize, wait a minute, they're coming from a different viewpoint. So they're affecting the reality that they're seeing in the future. So if we can change our future, we will predict things according to whatever we see, right? I predict this thing that I dreamed or whatever. We're coming from the reality that we're choosing and believing in is very much, in fact, this is absolutely true because remote viewers stopped trying to predict the future because they realized that the beliefs of the remote viewer affected what they were seeing. Do you love this? I'll tell you why this is super important. This gentleman shared that he got in a horrible car accident and that he was told that he still had to fulfill his contract. We have contracts. We agree to do certain things. That's part of the deal. And so we can walk out on them, but we don't get out of what you decided because you decided that that's what you wanted to learn. So they told him that because his body had so much damage to it, that they were going to have to shift him into another parallel, let's just say, reality. That was right here, right here. So he agreed he would come back. Now, the future that he saw, I'm sure this is the part you want to hear, is what I have shared with you over and over again. Community, people coming together and working together. Groups, we talk about the Bilderberg group, coming together to solve issues, to place the community needs first. We will go into smaller communities. We will have free energy. We will develop nothing but things that are good and healthy for our bodies, our planet, our animals, everything, right? You guys know I devised digitalexplorers.net. We create planet conscious business. It's starting now. It's been happening, and it's gaining speed. Why? Because we're going into that space, that other reality. We're choosing it. And you don't have to go into this reality. You can go, chase money all day or play the lottery or, live in the material world and struggling. Or you can say, you know what, I can have purpose and change the world. And that's what we're going into. Community. So we talked about, a few of you mentioned this in the comments about the elections, especially in the United States. How can you have one person or one party making decisions for an entire country this vast and diverse? So smaller communities are going to come into effect where, certain areas, they have different interests. So they're going to make decisions here. And then they're going to make decisions over here based on them. And then they're going to have exchanges of how they can help one another. It's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited. The lawnmowers came by and my little doves who have a nest here took off. Here's the good part. I found out they can leave for hours and the little chickies are okay. You know what? We live in an amazing world. And so when we come together and we protect what is precious, our resources, and we can't be stupid anymore. We can't claim stupidity, ignorance, right? Once you have information, you have to make decisions. So he comes back into his body. Of course, it's a mess. And he's got these premonitions of an amazing, beautiful world of community and solutions and gardens and, just the abundance flows because things are being handled so beautifully. But here's what started to happen. He thought he'd see people on television, and he said, how is this possible? That person is dead. I said, no, that person, of course he's not dead. You can see that person's not dead. He thought Mr. T had died. He thought Nelson Mandela had died in prison. He thought, and there was a whole list of people. This is a blatant one. If somebody dies, why is this person on a talk show? Is this live? Is it recorded? He says, no, it's live. And he figured out, and this started to happen a lot, that there were things that just were slightly off. He realized that the reality that was just right tied to the one he came from allowed him to live, because the reality he was in, there was no bringing that body back. So they had to shift him into one where he could recover. And in his, some people had died. All right, we've heard this, we call it the Mandela effect, right? How many people thought he died in prison? I did. Where did we get that from? I don't know. But he was living it, and it was happening more and more and more. And it was so noticeable, and he realized he had shifted into another dimension, which we can do. So as soon as you make a different decision, your reality will shift just enough, and you won't even know it. He knew it because, he had shifted a past. He got to see the past that wasn't the same as his current one. We can shift and create a completely different future that looks so close to what we have, but there will not be the war, there will not be the conflict, there will not be certain things that happen. Now, we don't have control over planet Earth. She's going through her own cycles. It's like trying to stop aging. Good luck with that one. We think it's bad. It's not. It's part of the process. This isn't really who you are. So enjoy it. What's it like to look old? Oops. We're all going to find out, by the way, if you're lucky to hang around long enough. So don't ever make fun of old people, okay? You're going to be one, and it's not, and karma's that. Relish the wisdom that comes with it, and take a look around and ask yourself what you can shift into, because you can do it at every split second. Every thought is shifting you into a new reality. I loved his premonition. His was the same one that I have. And I deeply feel that. I deeply feel that we're already going into it. Smaller communities coming together is so important. So instead of going out here and arguing with people, can you get your communities together to solve some local issues, even if it's your neighborhood? And all the things I want you to think about that you could be a part of that'll change the world. My students, I tell them, I said, you don't realize how much you're changing the world right here. Just being a digital explorer, creating a business that's planet conscious, doing something you love on a high frequency, being a healer, or doing something you never thought possible. And one of my potential students, she's considering coming over right now, told me that she actually communicates with trees. I said, I do too. And she was shocked. She says, you don't think that's weird? I said, no, how can that be weird? They're amazing, they're alive, and we should communicate with nature. And I told her, I said, well, the Indians did, and we've been doing that for centuries. Why is it so crazy now? And she says, is that something I could do? Of course. I said, you can help people to communicate and get in touch with nature and treat it like the intelligence it is. And we're going into that. I want you to stop limiting yourself if you want to live in that world. If you want to live in that world, if you don't, go ahead, argue, tell somebody they're wrong. That means you're not okay, and I have all the answers. I don't. I'm telling you what I believe, and I'm hoping that you will be inspired to start believing what you want to, that doesn't limit you or others, separate or judge. Separate and judgment is super low frequency, my friend, because that is you. That's another form of you, just like parallel universes, or I should say realities. Parallel realities. There's another version of you that may be the person that you despise, right? Maybe living the life that you despise or have different decisions. I think this is a beautiful message, and I think that the more we become aware of our words and others, without judging, listen to those words. Just say, what frequency is that on? Are they using negative words? Those are low frequency, and a high frequency person would never use that. Or push you to oppose somebody else. And if they use those tactics, you have to ask yourself if that's what you're handing your faith and power over to. That's the only thing I want you to consider for yourself, and that is, I'm handing my power, my faith in this person's decision making, or I don't have to do that at all. I'm not saying don't vote, that's not my point. I'm just saying maybe I just focus on me and what I'm doing and stop thinking that that person's going to solve the problems. It's relevant. It doesn't matter who gets in office. Your whole trip here is about you and your decisions. That's all it is. No matter if it's Attila the Hun in there or Gandhi, it's all about what I'm doing. That's it. That's what this whole journey is about. You. Are you going to argue, be mean to somebody, defensive, whatever? Where's that coming from? Why would you ever get angry with somebody? Well, it doesn't make sense. We're here to come together as something really beautiful that we already are. We're going into consciousness. And when you do, you realize, everything's perfect. You are. So you guys know these are free. This is Breakthrough Fear. Yeah, dealing with some stuff here. Here, come on over. You want to create an online business, a planet conscious one? We find out what it is that business should be for you. You don't come in telling me what it is. You don't have to know any of that. Come in and just tell me what you love. And we'll say, let's formulate a business around that. And then how do we earn money doing it? And we're going to create a real business, a real strategy, not selling KDP books or stuff like that. The world's changing, and we're doing amazing things. You could be a part of that, or you can keep arguing and get online and whatever else is out there. It's up to you. And you can't make a mistake, but the consequences are there. We call it karma, right? It's just cause and effect. The universe doesn't judge. But I think you're ready to go up to the penthouse. Only you can choose. You can't bring it down to you. You got to go up to it. And guess what? People down in the basement arguing, they'll never make it up there. But if you decide you want to let that go, that could be the most peaceful, amazing decision you've ever made. And things will come to you in alignment with that frequency. It's beautiful, and you are too. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.